Hi there. In this video we are going to be taking a look at this Tenda AC1200 or AC9, depending on what you want to use as a name, wireless 5 GHz router. And this thing is out of the box, but still has the protection on, because in an emergency I needed to provide wireless internet in somebody's house for a few days, and this thing was able to cover a quite spacious house, the whole of it. I don't know how many square meters, but maybe 100, maybe even more. This covered it without any issue. So that's awesome. This is a Gigabit router. I think they tell us here. So it has Gigabit or Gigabit. I can never know how to call those ports on it. Yes, it has an USB. Presumably you can add external storage or a printer or whatnot. I honestly never used this. I've done a bit of internet research, and the protocols used are not that safe. So yep, thank you, but no thank you. Anyway, so we have here the quick wireless connection WPS button. We can turn the Wi-Fi on and off from the second button. We have a reset in case this thing hangs. We have the outside connection, the one, and the 4 inside connection, and the fourth one is also for IPTV. Wanted to show you the charging brick, 12 volts, 1.5 amps. So this thing at maximum can actually consume 18 watts. That's something. So it's clearly transmitting quite strongly with those antennas. Yeah, blah. All of them are compatible, whatever. Don't care about that, don't care about that. What? This is the maximum Wi-Fi speed. I will test with my phone to see on a Huawei P30 Pro what's the speed on this thing compared to the one that my ISP gave me. Beamforming, that hopefully would help with areas of a bit lower coverage inside your house. Sleeping mode. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to sleep in the room that this thing is in. And here they are actually telling you which class this thing falls into. I genuinely hate the way that all of these models, so the AC number is something that the router manufacturers have started to use to show you how fast the particular router is. Bullshit, in my opinion. Anyway, I look at the specs of the router itself and I see if I like it or not. So that port that you can attach storage to is USB 2.0, not 3.0, so it will be kind of slow. This thing can take up to 30 connected devices at one point. Wireless coverage, you are comparing just your own models, so that doesn't mean anything. Anyway, so it has FTP, and Samba. And what videos you can watch on it? Jesus, I can watch this on my old router, whatever. Anyway, another set of specs. It's dual band, 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz. At 2.4 it will be a bit slower, So you will see two networks in your house, a 2.4 one and a 5 gigahertz one. I hated that they use 5G, not the same thing. Anyway, abbreviations, whatever. This network, the slower one, will cover more of your house. The faster one will cover less surface, but will be obviously faster. So there's that. It's already out of the box, as I told you. I've already needed to use it. It was pointless to put it back and pretend I'm opening a box, because I'm not. Everything was nicely packed in those things. We have the cable. I will extend the network that my ISP is providing to their own router. Their router is quite slow on Wi-Fi, but it's still a Gigabit router. So I will take network from it and push it into the rest of the house at higher Wi-Fi speeds, or at least that's the plan. So let's connect this thing, plug it in, remove this protection. Okay, get away from me. Again, those don't matter anymore, I'm changing them. And connect to this router to do the settings. A few days or maybe even weeks have passed since filming the first part of the video, because life happens and in a construction site you don't always do what you want. I'm connected to the router, so it's obviously plugged in, powered, and I'm connected through LAN port, this adapter, and into USB into this Lenovo Yoga tablet, laptop, whatever you want to call it. And I'm resetting it from reboot and reset to factory settings, because again this was used temporarily in an emergency, let's say like that. So I want to start from scratch and configure this as the camera focus, as the second router after the ISP one. Well, it actually did finish. Not going to happen because I only have one cable at the moment with me. So let's see if it can. No. Okay, let's ignore the quick setup. Let's see. We will go with the standard one where we input the IP and we go from there. No quick. Come on, you cannot do it without a quick setup. Really? That's a bit dumb. I don't have a second cable. Do I need to connect through Wi-Fi to this thing? And I thrown away the passwords, the factory passwords. Jeez, this is annoying. Okay, we can skip it. It was just under here, so I needed to scroll. So here, as you can see, it's giving us the name and password. So I will set those up. So I've set up everything. Let's see, next. And be back when this finishes. Maybe you got to see that for a second. We will have two networks. First with the SSID that I put, and the second one, the router adds a 5G at the end of it. Let me log in and continue. You can see the two networks right here. So at this point this connection failed, which is kind of obvious. Let's go to internet settings. The cable is disconnected, as you can see, which it actually is, because I only have one, which I will unplug from here when I finish the setup and plug it into the wall, and then I will just connect through Wi-Fi to this thing. I'm not using wired internet in here at the moment on any device. So next I will go to, this is good, so it will have dynamic IP. It will be allocated by the ISP router. Wi-Fi settings, name and password. Schedule, I don't think there's any schedule, as you can see, nothing like this. Wireless repeating, no, because we are connected with a cable. Channel and bandwidth. Here I don't want auto. I know that in this area first one is channel 1, so I want to be as far away from that as possible. Let's see, channel 13. Okay, good enough for me. And for the bandwidth, it's a bit annoying because I was expecting to allow me to set an auto, but I think this means auto, so it will either use the narrower, slower variant or the wider, a bit faster. These, all of them, yes. Wi-Fi for 5G. I'm not touching that one. I don't think my neighbors have 5 gigahertz routers. And this is again, I think, the auto variant. Let's select that. We're going to transmit power. Yep, high for everything. If you need something more, they tell you to get a repeater, extender, or whatever it's actually called. This I don't want because I'm connecting with my password, whatever. Beamforming, it's enabled. In theory, that will give you a narrower field of this Wi-Fi signal, but a bit faster. This disabled. Anti-interference auto, why not? Let me just check in Wi-Fi and password to make sure everything is as I want it, but probably it is. It is. But I think I don't want, I'm only allowing this because I don't have old devices that don't know WPA2, only WPA, so it's better like this. You can also change this if you want to, but I want to scare my neighbors by them seeing 5G and thinking that I'm irradiating them. Jesus, how do you pronounce that? Giving them diseases by Wi-Fi. Okay, and save. And honestly, I don't think guest network. I could give this so somebody in theory could connect without. Okay. I could enable this and set a different password. So when somebody comes at my place, they don't have the password for my main network, but they have some kind of guest password. Okay, I think I'm going to enable this thing. This, no, I don't think I'm going to bother. I'm not connecting anything to share files from the USB port. VPN, nah. Parental control, not for the moment. What? Dell? Who's Dell? Do I have a clone Windows on this laptop and I forgot to change the name? Could be. As you can see here, honestly, most of them are disabled. I could set LED control to shut the LED on this thing off, but this again, work site, who cares? IPTV, not using it. Firewall, enable that's okay. Yep, we are good. System settings, I don't think we care about anything. For LAN settings, I think I'm going to change this. In theory, you do not need to change this. I don't even think I need to change this, but I have a router with 0, 1. I think I will have one with 1, 1 and this with 2, 1. It's possible that I don't even need to do this. Not 100% sure, but doesn't hurt changing it. In theory, I think from anywhere in the network this will be interlinked, the routers, and I could connect to the settings of each and every one of them by using the proper IP, but then again one router could give an IP to the other router to connect to it, so my setting here could be overwritten. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so enable this thing and put a password on it. And in theory, after 8 hours, it should kick, or at least that's what I'm thinking, it should kick out everybody that, anybody that connected to it with a particular device. Probably you need to reconnect by knowing the password. So if I input the password to somebody, after 8 hours it will kick them out and they need to input the password, but if I input it, they don't know it, so they cannot connect back in. That's my logic and I hope that's how it works. Anyway, let's exit from this thing, and in theory I take the wire, plug it in there, and then we connect to Wi-Fi and do a speed test on this thingy and on the one provided by my ISP, and hopefully this, at least on 5G, will be much faster. Just wanted to show you a device that itself doesn't know 5G, 5 GHz. It will not see that network at all, so normally we should have two networks, 5G networks here. Yeah, not seeing them obviously, so I will connect with my phone to do a speed test. First, doing a test on the 2.4 GHz network from this Tenda router. Let's see what we get. This is quite a nice speed. I'm quite sure my ISP router is nowhere near this fast, but we'll see that. And I'm curious what we get on 5G. Okay, so let me connect to 5G and get back to you. And we are connected to 5G. Let's go. Yep, this is cool speed on my mobile phone. So everything is going as expected. Yep. My ISP router will be nowhere near this fast for sure. And now I'm connected to the router from my ISP. Let's see what we get. Yeah, it's rising, it's decent, but about 4 times slower than what the Tenda can give us. So if you have a gigabit connection or even a 500 meg connection and you have Wi-Fi from the router from your ISP, this Tenda will still make your network much faster. And it honestly, for the moment, at least from what I can see, it covers my whole house. The one from the ISP, about half of it. So yeah, and my other router, my old one, a TP-Link, which at the time was an Archer, some Archer model, I don't remember it exactly, was quite good at the time, still only covers about a bit more than half. So the Tenda is honestly awesome.